Hello and welcome to Primary Teaching with Kyle. My name is Kyle and I am a primary teacher. I'm an ECT primary teacher to be exact, and I'm an ECT 2.0. I'm starting ECT Year completely again. This video and all my videos from now on, I'm going to be trying to remember to do a weekly overview of primary teaching, of the ECT journey, of week to week, things to remember, things that went well, things that went not so well. And I'm going to try and remember to do this each week, and I think it's going to be helpful for me as well to just record the good things and record the things that didn't happen so well. So let's get started. So a quick little overview into my background of kind of how I've got to this point. Basically, how I got to this point is I did a sports coaching degree when I was 18, and then went and did PE teaching and sports coaching for, I think the last time I counted was about 25 different schools over about 8 years in 2 or 3 different cities, and just delivering every single sort of sport I could. Delivering every single club I could, so in terms of holiday clubs, in terms of breakfast clubs, after school clubs, lunchtime clubs. Then I also did some PPA cover, so I would be teaching PE whilst the teacher would be off. And then that kind of enrolled into one of the schools saying, oh, there's a teaching assistant position here, part-time, why don't you do this alongside your sports coaching work. I did that for a year and a half. And I absolutely loved it. Really loved working. I had a one-to-one SDN child as well who had a bit of speech and language issues, and I really loved working one-to-one with him, but also working with maths and English children, and really working on those things day to day, because that's the thing you don't get when you were doing PE teaching. It was once a week, or it wasn't as good, and you'd see the same kids once a week, and then the next lesson it would be a completely different class or a completely different year group or a completely different school. Then I decided, whilst COVID hit, I decided that was going to be the time, and I decided to go and enroll on a PGCE 1 year top up, and so completed that. Had 2 schools in placement. A lot of it was COVID hit, and so I think I went into my actual university maybe once or twice physically. A lot of the lectures and everything was online. But it was a good year, was a lot of experience that I hadn't had as a teacher. It felt very different, even though I'd been in charge of classes and all that sort of stuff, but because it was PE and all those things had been my comfort zone, to actually go and teach something that I wasn't sure about, confidence just went out the window on the subject knowledge. They're still standing in front of class, and kind of behaviour management, classroom management wasn't too bad. I didn't really feel nervous about speaking in front of class. I just felt nervous about the subject knowledge. If they asked me any questions on this, or feeling like I didn't have enough knowledge to go and really research the lessons. But I did pass my teacher training course, and then I joined a school, a year 5 position this time last year, as a year 5 full-time teacher, and after autumn term I left, and I went and become a supply teacher. The reason I left, it was a mutual decision, but the reason I left was mainly down to support from the school. It was a new head teacher, I think, that didn't help, and I think me having a COVID hit PGCE year didn't really help, because there was aspects of my teaching that I just didn't know or just didn't have the experience with, especially like behaviour management, especially like controlling things like that, like the admin side of it. I just remember feeling very full on straight away with things like that. But I've got another video for that. I did a video at the time, so I can kind of get my raw thoughts. So if you want to go back and look at my other videos, you can. Why I left, I'm not going to speak about other schools and things like that too much, but I am just going to say that that's what happened. And then I decided to go and work as a supply teacher. Now this was interesting, because I was kind of hoping to be a supply teacher in many different schools, in many different ages, and kind of get some more experience of behaviour management and things like that. but actually it seemed to work out, as I seem to have quite a lot of long-term ones. I had a couple of placements where they were a couple of weeks, and then as of January I had a placement which was known to be long-term, and the teacher was off sick, so I was expected to be in there until Easter, and then they just kept offering me to stay on. So I stayed on from January all the way to the end of the year, and it was a year 3 class, which was really nice. The school was interesting. Lots of pros and cons for either side. The staff were really helpful, and I thought it was almost like the best practice of being a teacher, because they treated me as if I was a full-time teaching member. So I was in all staff meetings, I was in all parents' evenings, everything like that from the start. And that was a big pro, because that's how I took it as well. So when I joined, I was like, this is my chance to go and be another full-time teacher again. I know it's supply and I'm not getting the same pay, and I can, leave, etc. But these kids I think they had 3 supplies or 4 supplies from September until Christmas. So they needed some stability, they needed some routines being put in, and it was a really good chance for me to show myself and to show to the school that I can do that. I can set up the routine, I can figure out what needs to be done, I can go in to all this data, because there was no data before, so I can kind of baseline test on everything, and then I can really show the progress, and I can really show to myself and show to the school that actually they are progressing, and I can see that. So, and it gave me a really good insight to all the admin stuff you have to do as a teacher, your pupil progress meetings, your staff meetings, your displays, your new topics, your planning, all these different things that you just don't learn on your teacher training course. So yeah, really interesting really interesting experience. I think definitely essential, and I would definitely recommend, if anyone's just passed the PGC and then feeling that they're not confident enough to go and do full-time teaching, either do what I'm doing, and I'm going to go into a bit more, but I'm doing a job share, or go into supply teaching. There's nothing wrong with that. You can always do supply teaching, especially right now they are crying out for supply teachers. So, and it would give you a good excuse to go and try different schools. And if, like me, you could go out to school and then you could stay there for a bit, and then you might even get a job there, because if they want to continue on and you know how the school works, you know how the policies work, you know how the planning works, why would they not keep you on? So that leads on quite nicely to where I am at now. And where I am at now is I am a year 3 teacher, job sharing. I got the job in May, I think it was, or June. So I've had all summer holidays to kind of prepare for it. But I am working 3 days a week as a year 3 job share teacher with another teacher who's actually the deputy head as well. So it works really quite nice, because she's going to be my mentor, and I'm also working with her. But yeah, so what have I done during the summer? Basically nothing. I tried to switch off completely until the last 2 weeks, so I didn't have any. Tried to really switch off for my mental health and not think about it at all till the last 2 weeks. And then the last 2 weeks I spoke to the teachers and figured out when they were coming into school, when I could come into school, and kind of worked out with the other co-teacher when we could do the displays, when we could sit down and have a chat about planning and things like that. So did a lot of that, and then it is Tuesday night now whilst I'm recording this, and the last 2 days, because our school goes back to school tomorrow on the Wednesday, so these last 2 days have been teacher training days, so where we've been doing everything in terms of big long staff meetings about curriculum planning and changes to this and changes to lecture. We've had a few different new teachers come in at different positions, and the head and the deputy head are relatively new as well, so they want to change things. But yeah, just so lots of those things. And then my main feeling is just exciting, really. I'm just excited to get started. I'm excited to get started on the ECT training and really actually have some training and really work on kind of things that I'm not so good at. But also just have the balance of that co-teacher there with me, so I don't feel as much pressure. You're not doing the whole thing. And then there's going to be 2 days where I'm not going to be working there at all, so I'm going to do supply work hopefully on those 2 days. So that'll be nice to like break it off, so I can just do supply work, say 9 to 3, get out at 3, and don't have to do anything else. Whereas these 3 days I'm going to be trying to be as full on as I can and make sure that there's things that I'm in charge of. So the way that we've split up the planning is that we've split up the timetable, and everything that is on my side of the planning I'm in charge of. So for example, I'm in charge of everything science, PSHE, RE, PE, and all those, and computing. So I'm in charge of all of those subjects. Maths and English we are splitting, and how we're doing things and how we're splitting the lessons, but a lot of it is already there from last year, so it's been really nice. So I will see you again for ECT week 1 reflect and look back at how it went, how these next 3 days go. But hopefully you have a good first few days at your school or wherever you are, or where you're training, teaching, whatever you're doing. Hopefully you have a good first few days, and I will see you all soon.